Alright folks, welcome to the third story of our giant series of Road to WrestleMania Director's Commentaries. I'm Justin Leeper. I was the director, so I'm going to commentary on these things. And now our third story will be the CM Punk Road to WrestleMania from SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. And we start, as we always do, with a nice video package by WWE. Little video collage of Punk doing Punk things. And it's kind of amazing to look at this, 10, 12 years ago and just see kind of the beginning of CM Punk's star starting to shine. Now, I knew Punk way before this. I'd say almost 10 years before this. And there he goes. We go into in-game cutscene Punk.
I don't drink and I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. My addiction is wrestling. With no toxins and no distractions, I've been able to make an impact in world wrestling entertainment. But I still want to go farther. I have a feeling it won't be an easy path. I welcome the bumps on my road to WrestleMania.
So a little bit dry delivery by Punk, but I guess that's within character. So I met Punk when I was learning how to wrestle in Minnesota. And the first time I met Punk, me and Austin Aries, my best friend since second grade, who came to live with me in Minnesota and started training a little bit after I started to train. And here's the ECW show opening. We were going to kind of the big federation at the time. It's called St. Paul Championship Wrestling. And I got in touch with Colt Cabana through Chris Hero, a.k.a. Cassius Ohno, and told him we were going to come to the show. And he said, all right, show up. I'll tell this story later.
What a night we have planned, Joey. It's going to be off the hook. Two of the best young superstars in sports entertainment squaring off in what's sure to be a classic match.
So that's nice. It's nice to have Joey and Taz, two ECW originals, calling the action here. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. So Austin Aries and I go to this show, and at the end, we meet Cabana backstage. And like I said, I had talked to him a little bit. So Aries and I introduced ourselves to Cabana, and Punk is there too. So, Colt is like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm Scott. And, hey, I'm Justin. This is Dan. And Punk's just kind of like, yeah, I'm Phil. Just didn't really give a damn about us. But Colt was just so nice and accommodating. He introduced us to the promoter, Ed Hillier, and was like, hey, Ed, this is Justin and Dan. They're, just coming up, but they're doing really good here in Minnesota. So if you need them, if you're looking for guys, these two are both really good guys. Like, he didn't know us from anybody, and he really put us over to the promoter. And I super appreciate that. I mean, Cabana is such a great guy, but and Punk was there too. So not too long after that, I saw Punk just tear it up at a St. Paul Championship Wrestling show against, I think it was Dino Bambino in a ladder match, and it was the damnedest match, and it was an indie match, but it was just spectacular. I mean, it's still one of my favorite matches I've ever seen live. And then I ran into Punk a couple more times, and he was always, kind of dry to me, but I mean, that's how he is with everybody. And I still kind of considered him one of our guys, and was super happy when he started to get successful, and I really welcomed the opportunity to, do this story and really try and put him over. And I personally am kind of close to straight edge myself, so I can relate to that aspect. And in that amount of time, we just finished off Jeff Hardy, who is kind of jerking the curtain once again in one of these stories. If you watched my Chris Jericho story, you saw he was in the original match with Jericho as well. Now, I don't want to think I'm putting him as a jobber. I just want to think that I'm including Jeff Hardy, because I have a lot of respect for him and, want to see him in the game. And while he didn't have a prime spot, he had a spot, and these guys benefit from coming in and doing voiceover and, whatever else, having their likenesses in. So I'd like to think that's a bit of a rub to Jeff. And there's Punk looking angry in the locker room. That's on brand as well. And Punk doesn't drink alcohol, but he sure drinks WWE branded water, because don't we all? What we all wouldn't do for just a cooler stocked with water that tastes like the WWE in the black label. Ask for it by name. So I'm really not a fan of the ECW theme music here. And I remember being in the sound booth and having to listen to it a bunch of times and just not enjoying it. Yeah, it's Don't Question My Heart or whatever. But we're in Phoenix now for week number 2. That was a very fast week number 1 because I was talking the whole darn time.
Tommy eats, sleeps, and breathes ECW, Joey. Kind of like me. It's that dedication that's endeared him.
So I don't know that Tommy ever held the ECW championship after Vince McMahon bought out ECW, but I mean, he deserves it. You know, he's such a cornerstone of ECW from the old days.
You pulled out a lucky win last week, Punk.
Somebody once told me, if you're good, you don't need luck.
I doubt you're good enough to beat me again.
I'm standing right in front of you. If you feel lucky.
This is ECW.
That is such a long towel. That's not even a towel in Jeff Hardy's back pocket. It's like a sheet.
What about an Extreme Rules match tonight? I'll even give the winner a shot at my ECW championship at the Royal Rumble.
Let's do it.
I like Punk with his finger pointing here.
When I go extreme, I don't hold back.
And that's the rule of threes right there. And they get a little close in kissing distance. But, you know, I think that was a decision by the guy who was directing the cutscenes this year. You know, that's a nice little touch. And it'll be a nice little touch if I put Jeff Hardy through a table. So when there are conditions, I want to make sure that I'm saving in case I mess it up. I mean, we both know I'm not going to mess it up, right? But, you know, just in case. So this time it's an Extreme Rules match because we're in ECW and we want to have an Extreme Rules match. And kind of weird that we've got 2 matches and they're both babyface versus babyface. And the condition for winning this storyline-wise is that the babyface that wins this gets to have a babyface championship match with Tommy Dreamer.
And with stakes like that, you know they won't hold anything back.
Yeah, I really enjoy having Taz and Joey on commentary here. So in the comments, people have been giving me gameplay advice on how to do maybe a wider selection of grapples. So hopefully from here on you'll see me do a little bit more stuff. Somebody was telling me that R1 and the right stick will do bigger assortment of grapples. And I don't remember how to put a guy through a table, but we'll see if we can do it. Because we want that bonus. Remember when they used to call Punk a Muay Thai practitioner or something? What a weird statement. Now, I am using my PS4 controller because, as I stated before, my PS3 controller is a little wonky, and somebody else in the comments, thank you very much, said I could use the PS4 controller. However, I think I need to have it plugged in the whole time. There's the Anaconda Vice, which I'm not going to have on for very long because I don't want Jeff Hardy to tap out. He got finished off pretty quick last match, and I don't want to miss the chance to get this win condition, so let me set that table up.
What a kick that was. And he hits a big-time leg drop.
The spinning leg drop. Now, me and Sean Davari were in wrestling camp one day, and I used to... No, I didn't do a spinning leg drop, but he wanted to emulate this ECW spot of Jerry Lynn and RVD, where Jerry Lynn goes, or RVD goes for the spinning leg sweep a la kind of Mortal Kombat, and Jerry Lynn jumped up and did a leg drop onto RVD's head. So we were trying that, and Davari, at the time a very skinny kid, drops his bony ass right on the back of my brainstem, and I'm seeing neon green. It's weird, like highlights are in neon green, and he was so kind of freaked out that like I was obviously hurt. and he kind of cradled me and like kissed my head and apologized because that's the kind of sweetheart Sean Daivari is. Love you, Sean.
This Extreme Rules match
He always says "smell you later," a la the bad guy in Pokemon.
made for Hardy and Punk. Anything goes. What better way to settle your differences?
Now, as you see, I keep kind of trying to whip Jeff Hart. I always like that weird clothesline that he does. I'm always trying to toss Jeff into this table. Uh-oh, now he's got me in the table.
A sharp kick wearing down his opponent.
And I'd like to bank that finisher, but... Oh. A lot of trademark offense, though. That weird little flippy kick that Jeff does showed up right there. Okay. Oh! I thought I was safe, but that was not a Hurricane Rana. Kick him in the knee. Yeah, there's a little bit with the directional button here with this PS4 controller is a little bit strange. When I'm trying to kind of shoot him diagonally and stuff, it's not doing necessarily what I want it to do. Alright, now, do I gotta drag him into the... Ooh, nice. Alright, maybe I can use this finisher and put him through the table. Boy, he is fighting it. Here we go. Can I get him now? He doesn't even go in the corner. He ends up kind of off the side of the corner. That's sort of weird. Maybe what I can do, maybe I'll try and throw him into the announce table. Maybe that'll be a little easier. Drag him over there. Even though in one of my last ones, I tried to do that and I couldn't. I think I was trying to get Orton into the announce table as Chris Jericho. And shades of Double J, Jeff Hardy, Jared, sorry, with that guitar. Oh, that was a long Irish whip. I can't believe he actually... I don't know how to go under the table either, or under the ring either. And he's got a kendo stick, and if you listen to one of my other videos, you heard me say that I wanted to see more kendo sticks and less sledgehammers.
The kick connects.
All right, let's try and finish this. That's kind of badass move. I don't think I've ever seen Punk do that, but springboard body splash is kind of neat. All right.
Oh man, check this out.
Nope, not what I want to do. Come on now. All right. Is this going to do it? Okay, here we go. Table finisher. I saw it on the HUD. Let's hope it happens. Let's hope it's not. Boom! I am the table.
Welcome to the land of extreme.
Land of extreme indeed. Population Jeff Hardy.
Going for that 2, 3.
I didn't want the match to end, but that was it.
Excellent. It's like the Taz model doesn't have a neck.
These two left it all in the ring. That's for sure. What a match.
That was definitely.
And that's referee, is that Scott Armstrong there? One of the Armstrongs?
Earning a
Huh.
shot at the ECW
If you don't know the Armstrongs, they're a very famous wrestling family. Was it Bob Armstrong? Bullet Bob Armstrong was the father. And one of the other Armstrongs is actually Road Dogg is an Armstrong, I believe. And that was 2 generic win animation cutscenes in a row. And we get Punk's alternate outfit. Okay. Maybe not the coolest unlock ever, but it's an unlock. And it didn't cost any extra money. We weren't microtransactioning the hell out of this game back then. Remember when games used to just give you stuff for playing them? Those were good times. Austin, Texas. The former home of Ion Storm Studios, makers of Deus Ex, my favorite game of all time. And I actually went there. First time I went to Austin was to do a feature for Game Informer about Deus Ex 2, later called Invisible War, which some people called disappointing, but I really got into it. Especially the Xbox version.
CM Punk and Jeff Hardy have tangled the last 2 weeks, but tonight
It's a very sheer tank top that Jeff is wearing there. But he hasn't taken it off yet. It's also kind of funny to see the gaps in Punk's tattoos where he just can't have the Cobra or Pepsi logo.
I hear we're pairing up tonight against Burke and Morrison. Listen, I got a little banged up after our Extreme Rules match last week. If we want to beat these guys, we should probably limit my ring time. You know me, though. I'll do my best.
Now that sounds like it would be a clear condition, but it's not. It's just, I don't know, me spicing up. That's my way of showing that these Extreme Rules matches take a toll, which is a little bit of foreshadowing.
Hardy and Punk have had extreme contests over the past few weeks.
So we've got two of the WWE ECW superstars in Elijah Burke and John Morrison.
they'll need to put their past behind them and work together as a cohesive
And
unit.
they're already double teaming me. That's not good.
Now that's how you work together.
And there's the drop
That
kick.
hit me in the heel, maybe? A heel kick is supposed to be kicked with the heel, not kicking the opponent's heel. But you know, you do you, Morrison. John Morrison had a very controversial match with my good friend Austin Aries, who, if you're sick of me hearing me talk about him now, just wait till he starts doing mocap for us in later years. But they had a big match for the Impact World Championship, where people accused my friend of quote-unquote no-selling Johnny Impact's finishing move. But if you want to hear Aries' side, you can listen to the Chris Van Fleet podcast, where he really talks in depth about the situation. And I think you'd be rather surprised.
Talk about impact. Look at the force behind that leg drop.
And kind of amazing to think that Morrison and Jeff Hardy are still going strong all these years. And Morrison still looks like $1 million.
There it is. The Anaconda
But he's not looking that great now.
choking the life out of his opponent.
Is it going to tap? Is it going to tap?
Hardy's feeling the effects of the Extreme Rules match last week. He appears to be favoring his leg. I wonder how that will affect the outcome of the match.
It's a strange split-legged moonsault,
He reversed it.
but it made some damage, so that's fine. So, because Jeff Hardy's injured here, I'm just not going to take him in. I don't want to risk losing this match. Not that I know of any punishment for losing, but well, that's a badass animation.
CM Punk has
And
earned
let's
his
taunt a
shot
little
at
bit.
the Royal
All right, here we go.
But he can't
This should do it.
afford to
Yep,
look
get over there,
past
Jeff.
the
Run some interference for me.
The Anaconda Vice.
And Burke just walks out. Sure,
This match is the
that was strange, but we got the win. And we finally got a heel babyface match.
weren't at full strength, but they still did it. My hat's off to
Another
them.
generic win animation because I guess I'm stocking up our cutscene budget for later.
Burke smell blood. They're nearly unstoppable. That was not the case tonight.
Good sell by Morrison. Not no-selling the finish. Haha, wink wink. When I did a pro wrestling play in LA called The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity, they gave me some of those Jeff Hardy-esque arm cut-up pantyhose type things, and they were kind of cool. They were red and black. I think one was red and black, one was black and red, and I wore them every night for, the 56 show run that I did. While I was taking a power bomb and a backdrop every show. Twice on Saturdays, twice on Sundays, Mondays off. And that backdrop kept getting higher and higher. Terrence Archie, the guy who played Chad Deity, which was kind of like a The Rock type character, just, I mean, he and I were so in sync, he just kept chucking me higher and higher on that backdrop, and I kept going for it.
Welcome to another live installment of ECW.
So back then, ECW and SmackDown traveled together, which is why I put all the ECW locations are the SmackDown locations, because at the time they were. So the main event doesn't have anything to do with us yet.
Hey man, listen. I'm worried about getting jacked by the same guys you faced last week.
What do you want me to do about it?
Some weird textures on the floor
I want you
there.
in my corner tonight to watch my back.
You know you and I have a championship match in a few days, right? All right, okay. You're lucky you're an ECW legend.
That was good line delivery by Punk. Really happy with that. He got that little laugh in there, and then we have him going back to doing some shadow boxing, because that seems like something that he would do. And who's this?
I don't care if you beat us last week. You aren't deserving of a shot at the ECW Championship. Tommy Dreamer had no authority to make the match for Royal Rumble. He did it because he knows he couldn't handle the Tuesday Night Delight. This injustice will soon be remedied. You can't stop my destiny, Punk. You can only hope to delay it.
Not a bad delivery by Morrison either. We're just trying to keep him relevant, even though he's not necessarily in this match as of yet either. And I want to help Dreamer beat Elijah Burke. And there's a clear condition, so I'm going to save. Sorry. I apologize. Are you guys as save happy as I am? Or do you just let it ride? It's funny because I'm, as a former pro wrestler, I'm pretty fearless about a lot of things, but when I can save, I save. Every game I'm like that. My wife's the same way too when we're playing Kingdom Hearts. She saves even more than I do. Right, so Morrison is in the corner of Elijah Burke. Now, talking about Elijah Burke, after we get this exclusive voiceover.
The champion asks his challenger to watch his back tonight. One thing I like about Punk is that he's a competitor, and he's not looking for any shortcuts. He wants Dreamer at his best.
So Elijah Burke, I did an interview with him at one Superstar Challenge, which was a thing where superstars would play the WWE game in kind of a tournament format and do media interviews around WrestleMania weekend. And I got an interview with Burke, as well as Lashley Anderson and who's it? Ashley Massaro, who unfortunately passed away, I think, last year. But Elijah Burke and I had a fun little interview. He was, we were vibing off each other. I don't think he didn't know my background, but we, there's a DQ, but let's have another fracas. But I heard through something that Elijah Burke was mad at me, and I think it might have had to do with the editing of the interview, or like we did a normal interview and then we did a there was a hey, talk about gamesradar.com or something, and maybe they posted some of the stuff that should have maybe been on the cutting room floor. I don't know. I was not in charge of that. I was paid to do the interview and that was it. But I hear Elijah was kind of upset with the way that was handled and was looking for me specifically. And I reached out to him, I think on Facebook, and maybe through some other means, and kind of tried to clear the air, but I've never had a chance to talk to him about it. But, I had the utmost respect for that guy, and I thought it was a good interview, so I'm not really sure why he was upset, but I would have loved an opportunity to kind of clear the air with him. Speaking of clearing air, right now Johnny Morrison cannot breathe any air, because I had him in the Anaconda Vice. And nobody's bumping Brad Armstrong here, because we all know he's a kind of badass man too. He could hold his own against any of us. Ooh, nice front suplex there. Is that a pancake suplex? This is a fun little melee. Hopefully it doesn't go too long and people get tired of it. I know it's not an actual match. Nice neck breaker by Morrison. I kind of want to not do that split-legged moonsault anymore. Good drop kick by Punk. I really appreciate a good drop kick. You know, I think of Lance Storm with a great drop kick. Of course, Paul London's got a legendary drop kick. Who else? Hardcore Holly threw a mean drop kick. And it's not that easy because you have to be usually from a standing position, hit the guy square in the face on a vertical leap. All right, here's a fighting cutscene. And take a rest, take a powder there. Going for the Dreamer DDT.
A tactical retreat doesn't mean this thing's over, Joey.
Punk might have been thinking about doing something there.
Then why didn't he? If the champ gives you an advantage, you got to take it.
Sowing the seeds there, kind of tenuous partnership between Punk and Dreamer as they're going into Royal Rumble against one another. Which maybe I should have had the announcers kind of put over a little bit more, but there was not a whole lot of time there. And here comes Royal Rumble, the end of the first act for our Road to WrestleMania stories here. And we see CM Punk with an ECW championship match. So that's good if we can end Act 1 with the championship. We've already seen that there's a couple other viable contenders in the form of Morrison and Elijah Burke. CM Punk is gold.
Where the ECW championship is on the line.
I hear it's going to be an extreme rules
Now watch the pointing by Taz at the end of this.
Tell you the truth.
That doesn't sound like an ECW original talking to me.
Why? Because I don't want two talented superstars maiming each other?
It should be a violent confrontation, that's for sure. And Dreamer's ECW championship is on the line. We'll see that match and many others
Tonight, there's that point by Taz. Now, storyline-wise, you can kind of tell that Taz, even though being an ECW original, he's a little bit like hesitant about these guys doing another hardcore match.
Big time, Punk. Give it everything you got. You're good, but we're about to find out if you can go extreme with me, the innovator of violence.
Kind of strange that Taz, being an ECW original, is starting to shy away from this extreme style. But these two are not going to shy away from an extreme style.
CM Punk versus Tommy Dreamer for the ECW title.
Now, I interviewed Tommy when Acclaim was making an ECW game, their first ECW game, and they had me out there to do a feature for Game Informer magazine. Oof, missed that one. And they showed a little mocap by Danny Doring and Spike Dudley, and I talked to them a little bit, but I also got to interview Tommy, had a nice little interview with him, and he came off as just such a genuine, down-to-earth dude, and I really enjoyed that conversation. So I'm happy that I could write some stuff for him. And by all accounts, I mean, both Aries and Daivari both have nothing but great things to say about Tommy, which was kind of surprising not too long ago when I read some interview with him where he said that he was planning some really violent end to himself. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't really remember the time frame or whatever, but I think his career was not going that well, and he was not too happy with Heyman, and he was planning something bad, which he didn't go through with, thankfully.
When ECW title's on the line, friendship counts for nothing. He dodged that bullet.
And that looked pretty badass, like I hit the stairs. Unfortunately, the collision didn't say that.
Oh my, what a flurry of kicks.
So it's right in front of Corey Ledesma there, who wants to be #1 contender according to his sign. Look at those pants. It's kind of funny to get to see that part of them. And again, the PS3 is just doesn't look as good as the 360, unfortunately. Boom. And if I had gotten the 360 instead of the PS3, you probably would have been watching this video about a month before, because 360 was also a lot easier to capture footage from. And that was a big chair shot. I have taken a couple chair shots in my day, and they are not fun. Oh, but wow. Okay. And Tommy gets color on his own, and I eat poop on my own.
And this is coming from a hardcore
Uh-oh.
icon. Times change, Joey. I just
Oh,
want
Van
the guy to be able
Daminator.
to walk after this match.
A uncharacteristically athletic maneuver by Tommy Dreamer, but I guess that's what happened when he busted himself open. And if he likes chairs to the head, there you go, buddy.
Oh, man. What a chair
There you go,
shot.
buddy.
Brings me back to the original ECW days.
So while Taz in this story is a little bit anti-violence, or he's getting there, of course the original commentary lines for him that are not exclusive to this match are still kind of violence-loving. Not much I could do about that. Dragon Screw Leg
What a
Whip.
display of power.
Elbow to the foot.
To the opponent.
Alright.
Watch out. Here
Let's
it
see if we can
comes.
put him to sleep here.
And there's the go to sleep.
A quiet
Knee to the
finisher
hip.
again.
On the mat, shoulders down. This two. Oh man, I can't believe that wasn't
2.
Going for the bulldog.
Nasty Bulldog. Alright.
I think we're about to see a high-risk move from the top rope.
Yeah. Pointing over there. I'm saying you go over there. I'll take that. And you'll get that.
How in the world is a human body
Alright, let's see if I
supposed
can
to
maybe
withstand
get him
that kind of
in this
impact?
table.
Great. Looks like we'll be standing up for the rest of the match. No, I don't look tall when I'm standing. Don't worry, the fans behind you should still be able to see just fine.
I don't look tall when I'm standing. The fans should be able to see behind you just fine. That's a funny
He
line.
puts the boot to his opponent.
Okay, I gotta finish her. Come here. I gotta kind of
Jumps.
beat him
Knocks his
to...
opponent down with a drop kick.
Let's go, Punk. Alright, there's some funky physics. Sure.
Punk's big
Eh.
chance. This could be his night. The ECW. There it is.
It could be his
The
night.
Anaconda
And
wins.
it's his night. Yep, it is.
I'm not sure if everyone's going to be happy about it, but this one is in the books.
Don't know if anyone will be happy about it with me not putting him through the table, but...
CM Punk has captured the
Here we go.
ECW Championship.
And we start the reign of Punk in ECW.
Yeah, but at what cost? Dreamer looks really hurt out there.
We have medical personnel out tending to Tommy Dreamer.
And Taz getting in there too. A little concern for his friend. Stay back, Punk. So you see that, again, the extreme matches are really taking a toll on these guys. Even though these are babyface matches, these guys don't hate each other. They're just going out there and going extreme. And, you know, Hardy was hurt. Now Dreamer is hurt. So what kind of ramifications are those going to have? You're going to have to wait until parts 2 and 3 because part 1 is done, son. Thank you for watching.